In today's LEGO City update, I'll be finishing the area around the second tunnel entrance at my LEGO Mountain. Also, I'll be planning a future project, a harbor, in the second half of this video. For now, I'm starting off by covering the empty spot that was remaining next to the row of houses in the back of my LEGO City. I still had that space remaining because I was thinking about adding another building. Now I've decided against that and simply covered the area up with green plates. Now I'll continue on the part above the tunnel entrance. My plan is now to create a transition from this flat space onto the mountain itself. Another benefit of adding all those plates, as you can see, is it adds stability. At the moment, the whole thing was quite unstable, and having different layers of plates added obviously helps with that. Then I spent 2 hours on putting together flower stems. I'll now use them to firstly add detail above the train tunnel. The effect this has is that the flower stems then actually blend together the two different scales I'm using, firstly in the back of my LEGO City and then the bigger scale towards the front of my LEGO City. And since I'm using the exact same part in both of these areas, that then helps connect the whole city. Secondly, I'm using these flower stems now to cover up the ground directly behind the street. This is actually the last spot of the mountain corner that was empty and lacking these flower stems. And although this position I'm having right now is extremely exhausting and quite difficult to build, it's totally worth it because the difference in detail it makes once you have everything covered up in flower stems is immense. Also, you might ask why I'm not taking out the different modules I've actually created for adding these flower stems and building. My reason for that is because if I only work on one module at the time, I don't have the surrounding modules as a comparison and also as a template to continue my work. And especially when it comes to landscaping, my goal is to have everything flow together seamlessly and to cover up and hide all the different transitions between the modules. For the last remaining spot, also towards the wall of the house, I've now prepared another tree, which I've built in a mixture between the two scales in order to once again help with the transition. And with that being done, we finally have this corner of the LEGO City finished. Of course, I'll let the train run at the end of this video because we definitely need to know how this corner now looks with the train passing by. Another thing I now did is I prepared the whole stabilization at the first peak of my mountain, and also I've spent several hours this week once again on the rock work. It's always extremely difficult to actually show the progress because I always have the feeling that although I cut down several hours of building into a few seconds, since the mountain is already so big, the additional progress I'm making per video doesn't really come across. However, I think you can still see that I've spent quite some time on that. And then I've spent literally the entire week on the planning of this section in front of the LEGO City right here. My idea was to add a harbor, and now look at this. I've taken 16 stud base plates, put them in front right here, and look where the two different wooden plates meet. It's exactly the line where the 16 stud base plates end. So this now means I don't have to cut any of the plates I currently have, but I can then simply remove this one, place it a few centimeters down there, and then take blue base plates. Obviously, I will cover them up with flat tiles and whatever, but I can simply take blue base plates and then place them one step below the dark bluish gray base plates I've added, and then actually have a harbor which is below the rest of the city, which is important, obviously. Also, I think this is very important to add. My plan is not to build a industrial harbor that wouldn't fit into the rest of my LEGO City, but to have this sort of Amsterdam, Netherlands vibe kind of style harbor, or also Denmark, some northern European country with motorboats, sailboats, and so on in the harbor itself. Not container ships and big cranes and whatever. I still have that planned in future, but it wouldn't fit to this area of my LEGO City. So definitely let me know your ideas in the comment section. And now, as I've promised, the last thing for this week's LEGO City update is, of course, the train ride.